Have you ever done temple work for someone like Mrs. John Smith, born from 1800 to 1900 in the United States? Even though this is technically enough information to do someone's temple work, I will show you how much research you should do to avoid any problems. Hello, welcome to Genealogy instructional videos for everyone. In this video, I'll show you how much research you need to do to prepare a name for the temple. I will also show you a useful trick at the end, so stay tuned. I will now show you 5 questions to consider before doing someone's temple work. Number 1. Do you know their gender? Years ago, I came across this family record, and it had a name on it that appeared to say Wrens. I didn't have any other records to back up that this person existed since they lived less than a year. And when I looked up the name online, it's generally a man's name, so I just assumed that this person was a male. When I asked a relative about them years later, though, I found out that my ancestor named Renee was actually named after her older sister, a practice that I think is kind of weird. But anyways, I found out that because I had the gender wrong, the temple ordinance that I did for her was not valid, and I had to do it over again. So something just good to be aware of. Number 2. Did they live to be at least 8 years old? In one of my previous videos, I came across the Summers family, and 2 of the sons in particular, I could only prove that they lived up to the year 1885, which for the case of Philip would mean that I can't even prove they lived to 8 years old. With temple work, if someone is stillborn, no temple ordinances are necessary. If they lived less than 8 years, then you only need to seal them to their parents. And if they live beyond that, then you could perform the rest of their temple ordinances. Let's see what I find out as I do more research on this family. Number 3. Are there duplicates? I did some more research on Philip Summers, and I was able to find his middle name. I found it on an obituary attached to his sister, and it was on the newspapers.com obituary index on Ancestry. Great resource. Going back to Philip, though, I was able to find his birth information from a few different records. One in particular was the World War II draft registration. On that record, it showed that there was a Philip Summers already attached to this record, which means that that's potentially a duplicate. Going to his page, it shows that the Philip I'm working on is potentially a duplicate, where it didn't show that before. This guy has several sources attached, so somebody's done some good research on this guy. It looks like he has a wife and children, which I didn't have that information before, but he doesn't have parents attached, so I'm going to be the one to bridge that gap. So whenever you find sources, you potentially find duplicates, and there's no reason to do someone's temple work if it's already been done. Number 4. Did they marry and have children, or remarry and have children? To illustrate this, I'll show you one of my relatives who got married 3 times, and he was not polygamous. He just outlived his first 2 wives. With his first spouse, they had 2 children, but neither lived very long. When he got remarried, he had 1 more child, but once again, he outlived his spouse. With his 3rd marriage, he didn't outlive his spouse. But I was grateful I was thorough researching him, because I found out he doesn't have any living descendants today. And who's better to research them than you? I've noticed when I've been thorough with my research, I often find a lot more people to do temple work for. Number 5. Is there a chance that they could be confused with someone else? Anyways, I have my sister draw a picture of Frankenstein's monster. I'll show you his guts. So Frankenstein is made out of a bunch of dead people that have been improperly merged together because they had similar information. You do not want this happening. Usually there's just 2 or 3, not the nearly 20 that they have here. To avoid people being improperly merged, it's a good idea to get their full name, which includes their middle name, and with their birth and death information, make sure you have an exact date and an exact place. If you have photographs and stories, add those as well, as it just makes the likelihood of this happening go down to almost zero. I'll now go over with you the tip on family search that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. If you're like me and you have a hard time keeping track of what you last researched, you could click on Recents, and it brings up a list of nearly 50 people whose profiles you most recently viewed. Anyways, thank you for watching.